You would do a website, Mohammed, and how it would look like. What can do people do in your website? How? Okay. Okay, that's interesting. A website. What about you, Shadi? What would you do? Wallah? What would you do?
Actually, it's the same idea of the website, but it will be divided, for example, update your data. This is forget to update their address. They move their location, for example. Another section if you, for complaints or suggestions. This one directly will go to that department without having to wait and go through the call center. And another box for the bill payments. They can pay online.
Okay.
Using their visa.
Super cool.
And for the complaints, they can have also ticket number, so they can follow up after that with that department.
Okay, very good. So everything website. Yeah, website where they just can search the problems, no? Like.
Yes.
Atika, what would you do? Atika is a guest today.
If it's call centers, they probably benefit from using e-services. So if people did call, they'd have an option to just go straight to service calls, or use like they said, the website, or find a machine, or even like if they have an app, they can just use.
Yeah, but what would you do? All of it?
Yeah, you could, because if it's all linked, like if it's an e-service.
So what would you do? An e-service?
All into account.
But you have to explain what would you do. An e-service? Is that what would you do? And you? What would you do?
Since they are already a call center, I thought that maybe they change it into the chatbot that you talk to, and when you need a more complex service, you will connect to an agent instead.
So what's the difference between a chatbot and Walla's solution or Mohammed's solution?
They will have to introduce the website to the customers, but the chatbots, they already have the number, so they will call the same number.
Right.
Except that they're connected to the chatbot, and when they need an agent, they connect to that one.
What do you think, Walla?
That's better idea.
Chatbot is better?
Yes.
Why?
Because as she said, we don't have to go through designing a website.
Well, but you have to design a chatbot. Okay, so this is a real case from a friend of mine who was working at an insurance company, and they decided to use a chatbot actually. Yeah, and instead of a website. But of course, combining both might be a good idea. So let's assume in this case that you would just do a chatbot, and how much money could they save? Did anybody manage to calculate or estimate how much money is possible to be saved with a chatbot? I want numbers. Yes.
In year one, they will be able to save 1.5 million.
Okay, and could you tell us how did you do this calculation? Did you do an Excel? Can you do it there?
I didn't do it, so they could calculate.
Do you want to show us in Excel? Yes? So that's the computer, so you can use an Excel there. Okay, so Walla's going to show us how she arrived to these numbers. So let's make it a bit bigger, yeah. So we have that, how much is the cost of an agent per year? It's $50,000, right? That's the salary of an agent, yes? And then we have how many agents? We have 10,000 agents, right? So these are real numbers, by the way. Very good. And what is the assumption? Total yearly cost of the agents.
Paying right now is 500 million.
Okay. Why don't you use the formula of Excel, like equal, do you know how to do it?
Okay.
It's more fun. Equal, type equal, and then this one, multiply, asterisk, asterisk. This one, enter. No, enter. Okay, now here, and we will format it with dollars. How much is that? $500 million. That's the cost of a real company. It's an insurance company. The cost of the call center every year. Okay? Yes? Yes? Awesome. So, next one. So, we assume that if we make a chatbot, that when a customer calls, 25% will stay in the chatbot only, and they will not call, or that we will save 25% of the calls. Yes? So if we assume this, yes, yes, multiply, asterisk, very good, 0.25, enter. And that's the 125 million. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, first year is 25%, right?
Yeah. If in the second year, half of the customers stop calling and they solved all their problems through the website that you say, or the chatbot, or a combination of both, how much money is that? 250. And in third year, let's assume it's this. Fantastic. Thank you, voila. Well done. Make sense? This might be one of your jobs if you go to this company. Wow, super cool. And that's why we are teaching chatbots, okay? Because these are real numbers. So it really saves a lot of money. And it's the same case with Do. It is a lot. Yes, Diwa.
Okay, I do get the chatbot is like the voice system they make already.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It can be an automated voice, or it can be a place where you chat. So maybe you have a website and you have the chatting box there.
Yeah, like a live chat. That's the
Live chat, yes. That's when we say chatbot, we say live chat. Make sense? So how do you program chatbots easily? So Facebook developed a tool. It's called ChatFuel. It's okay. Everybody's using ChatFuel. Change a lot. Right. So. I don't want to log in right now here. It has an API, and the good thing about ChatFuel is that chatfuel.com. So you need to create an account on Facebook, okay, to use this one. The good thing about chat, oh my God, it's not loading. Why? You can program a chat conversation with blocks. Does that make sense? So let's see if I can see it. Oh no, you cannot see it, and you cannot see it here. We can see. chat field. I can show you some. Here you have an example. And here you have another example. Does everybody feel the internet is super slow recently? So you basically have blocks. Hmm? Hmm? Yeah, it's not the same. Hold on. Thank you. But it looks very similar. Let's see. Okay, this is the one I want. It's all the same, more or less. So this is the typical chat field interface where you have built-in blocks like this hello. And the good thing about this is that your user logs in with Facebook or with whatever system you have, so you already know the name of the user. So you can immediately say, hello, Shadi, how are you doing? And oh, he knows my name, right? And his age and any information he has on Facebook. His emotional state, is he happy or sad? And then you build blocks like this, and then you can expect responses. And depending on the response, you can say if there is this keyword, for example, hello Shadi, how are you doing today? And Shadi says, I have a problem, I need to renew my insurance. So I will detect the keywords, renew insurance. So whatever he says, I don't know how to renew the insurance. I don't know, can you help me renew my insurance? So I would detect renew insurance. And then I would say, is it a car insurance or a home insurance, right? And maybe Shadi will click in home insurance. And then I say, okay, to renew the home insurance, you have to fill this form. Here's the PDF, download it and send it to me back. Done. You got it? Super efficient. So and then the chatbot can say, oh, do you need help with something else? Da, da, da. Make sense? So last year, the students programmed a chatbot for Do to help, as a help desk. Simple questions like, how do I know my balance on my phone? And the chatbot will reply, you have to press asterisk 124 hashtag. Where is my nearest Do office? Where is off? And so I know from Facebook where you live. So I can say, this one is the closest to you. Or if you're on mobile, I know where you are, GPS information. I say, here, or I can show you even a map. Do you get it? So they made this chatbot, they showed it to Do. Do actually was a bit interested, because this was 2 years ago. And yeah, it was pretty good, yeah. Okay, so chatbot has a lot of potential, and the way to build a chatbot, this is a visual way. You can build it coding by yourself with Python, for example. It's a bit harder, but here you have a lot of resources. And then you have like timers, like if Shadi didn't chat for me for 1 month, I can chat to him and say, hey Shadi, you okay? You need something? So it's good for sales and stuff like that. Many companies, so there was like a craze of chatbot things like 3 years ago. Like in California, everybody was, oh, chatbot is the future, conversations, designing conversations. This is, I even wrote an article about it called Narrative UX, the UX of narration. And yeah, so you can imagine for medical services, yes? You save a lot of time and money. Make sense? Another team developed a diagnosis chatbot to diagnose yourself. So it would, so we put it on Facebook, and we got many random people talking to this chatbot. Mostly moms worried about the kids. My kid is high fever, here, help me. Another thing we did is like, to diagnose yourself, how do you do it? So, for example, somebody feels bad, no? So you say, okay, what did you do? It was visual. What did you do last night? Did you drink and you show some alcohol, and you can, or did you just eat too much or something? And it clicks, click, click, and then you do a triage. And did you smoke a lot or you didn't smoke? And maybe you ate some fish and the fish was bad. So you start asking questions like this until you find what's going on. Make sense? So that's chat field. So one of the things you can do as a project in this course is to build a chatbot. And if you sell it, you get an A+. It's hard to sell a chatbot, no? But it's awesome. Also. Some students made a chatbot for the college to help the students with the typical questions. Like, where is Dr. Jose's office? Where is my supervisor's office? And if it's connected to you, that's good. It knows everything about you. So you know that you're in the College of IT, that your supervisor is Jose. So when the student asks, where is my supervisor's office? It's here, right? It's like magic. Make sense? Yes?
Where does it read the data from? Is it connected to a database or JSON format?
Oh, yeah, this uses JSON and APIs from Facebook. But you can interface with, you can build a chatbot and instead of Facebook data, you could take it from your own API or wherever you want. You can customize it.
So I can have my own MongoDB database.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's easier than it looks. And you can build a chatbot for Facebook without using this, just using the API. So my friend, who's a genius, he programmed a chatbot that tells jokes. So he went to the internet, downloaded a list of jokes, put it in some JSON format, JavaScript, start a Heroku server and API, and you could chat to him. Does it make sense? I made a chatbot for my dad. My dad paints and has a small studio, so I made a chatbot that when you go to the Facebook page of the studio, you just tell you, hello, welcome to my dad's studio, and this is what do you want to know? Office hours, his phone number, and say office hours, click. It says location map, click, shows a map. It's also you can show images, so it's pretty cool. Yes?
Is it possible to implement a chatbot that would be like question and answers?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yes, yes. The thing you don't want to do is to give too much freedom to the user. If you start asking open-ended questions, the user can say crazy stuff, and then you don't know what to do because you cannot think of all the cases.
No, I was thinking more of like in my web hosting platform, I can have a chatbot, so if they have an issue with adding something they
Yeah.
migrating virtual machine, something that's standard, how to use the web hosting.
Yeah. One of the most famous chatbots in the world is called Weebot. He was a Stanford professor, Weebot. See where you are. This Weebot, one of the first famous, it was an antidepressant. Stable for people that struggle with depression. Are you depressed? No. You're sad?
No, that's like
The Weeb. Oh, you think it's sad? Why? No, it helps them a lot. So it chats to you. It chats to you. It follows up with you, and it uses NLP techniques, linguistic programming, and it tells you exercises. It gives you exercises that if you go to a doctor, it will tell you the same, but as a chatbot. And because it's a chatbot, you feel less shy. Or if you have an embarrassing question, medical embarrassing question, for example, chatbot is perfect. So you have to think, sometimes it's a better solution than a call center. Like if you're in a noisy environment, if you're shy to talk with the voice, if you don't want to be face-to-face with someone, just you want a completely anonymous thing, it has some advantages to face-to-face. It has a lot of disadvantages, like it's more dangerous because when a doctor sees you, he can see things that, but it has a very good use cases. Make sense? Okay. Would you like to see an example, one more example of chatbot and the advantages? Okay, so when I was in California a few years ago, I prepared a presentation for for a famous fund. Chatbot. No. Chatbot UX. Yes. And this is the presentation I prepared. Ooh, yeah, but I need to show it here. Let's see if this works. It's still working. And now I'm going to show you this one. Yeah. Can you see it? Yes? So there's some notes, some research I did by myself. And all right. Magic. Yeah, I guess you want to see the other. I just don't know how to do it. All right, so as you know, Facebook has been a great invention. It has taken over the internet, basically, yes. And in Facebook, if you go to your Facebook page, I know who uses Facebook here? Really? And you too? How can you live without using Facebook? Well, how do you use Facebook?
I just keep watching the lives, live stream and also the videos.
Wonderful. Okay, so in Facebook, there is this thing called, you may have some options here, some other options here, and you have the feed. This is called the feed, the wall. And Facebook puts news here that are super addictive. It mixes news with viral content with your friends and family and photos. They have a very good AI that really, it's like, remember before when you read magazines? So remember that, imagine you could access all the magazines in the world, mix it with your own news of your friends, and make a really excellent magazine with the best things of all these magazines. You would get addicted, isn't it? So that's what this is. And because with AI you can do it, it's very cheap. Because you can try things and you can measure how long do you stay here. So it gets every day gets better. This is called the feed, and that's why people go back to Facebook. This is the chat window. And up to now, there was no advertisement in the conversations or anything. It was quite pure, and people really trust this interaction. And here you could, you can ignore this one, right? So there's this theory, like the chat is the new feed because people trust the chat because they never see fake news in the chat, but you might see fake news in your feed, yes? So people really trust a conversation if it's between your friends. You trust it, right? You would not expect to see lies there. And when it's a chatbot, people still trust it because they're used to this conversation. Does that make sense? Even if it's a chatbot. Right. Oh. So the chat is the new feed. The chat could be the new thing that makes people addicted to you. There's this other thing. So this was a chatbot for medical to replace doctors or to reduce the workload of doctors. So this is a map, and this is the inconvenience to the user in the y-axis. And the x-axis is the value to the user. Yes? So you can see that there's this website. Do you know it? WebMD? Yes? It's a medical website with information, but no interaction. So you can Google headache, and it will tell you all the types of headache with the symptoms, and then you have to read all the entries and see, oh, my symptom, maybe it's this one. And at the end it will say, if you have the minor headache, don't go to the doctor, because they don't want to get sued later. So that's a static website. On the other side, you have to go to the doctor. So if you have a headache, you can decide to drive the car and go to the doctor. So the cost is quite high, time and money. You can call before going, right? It's a bit less. And there's a space in between the call and the website, and that could be the chat. A bit more personalized than a website, less expensive than a call. Got it? But there are other advantages. So you can play with the personalization and with the UX. So this is another chart. This is the benefit to the user. When you call, there's a lot of inconvenience, right? Did you call to the doctor ever? What's your name? How old are you? I don't know. 5 minutes, no gain. Then after 5 minutes, you get some gain, like, oh, well, maybe, and then they end up telling you, come to the hospital, basically. There's this not very happy interaction at the beginning, and you get benefit at the end. If you go and visit the GP, the general practitioner, first you invest a lot of time, a couple of hours. You go, and maybe there's a waiting list, waiting. Not happy again, right? And then maybe the doctor sees you, find some value here, right? And there's another problem. When you go to see the doctor, okay, he learns about you, and then you go to see him 1 month later. He has seen 300 patients in 1 month. He doesn't remember you. He doesn't remember you. He doesn't remember you. I don't remember my students from last year when I meet them on the street. A child might remember. Here you have the WebMD. The utility of WebMD is very good at the beginning. You find headache, the entry, but then you stop finding information, or it gets very complex. And after 30 minutes, maybe you stop using it. A chatbot, it's quite interesting. The utility for the user, the benefit is not very high, but the chatbot has infinite memory. So you can chat and then come back 1 year later, and the chatbot still remembers you. Oh yeah, you are Walla, yeah, you had a headache 1 year ago. How are you doing? So it's a machine. So not only that, it has infinite memory. It's a machine. So it can remember everything you told him. So this is a very good way to detect things that a doctor cannot detect. Like, oh my God, you always come when you have a headache on Saturdays, because you go to brunch and you eat a lot of food, maybe, I don't know. Make sense? So it has a lot of potential. So the chatbot, in theory, it could be much better than a human. Does this make sense? WebMD, no matter how many times you go, the benefit is the same. It's always the same. Doesn't learn anything about you. A doctor, when you go, he remembers you, but then he will forget after 1 month. After 1 year, he has to learn everything about you again, more or less. A chatbot is a machine with infinite memory. In theory, with a good AI, it can become more and more useful. Here, talk about using it for 5 years, 10 years. Make sense? I mean, that's science fiction, but it could happen. You can skip this one. So how do you create value with a chatbot for medical? So there's this thing, and this is a very good lesson. When you start a company or something, don't try to sell vitamins. Try to sell painkillers, because when people are in pain, they will give you anything, right? When for vitamins, nobody will pay you $1 million, right? So that's an expression they use in Silicon Valley. Right, so the profit model, so we just did a case, but it should be that the cost of the chat should be less than a call center, right? The value of the chat should be more than the call center value, or equal. Either one of those. You can have a very expensive chatbot, but if it's better than the call center, it's fine. Right. So for this company, we developed a chatbot on Facebook. You still can find it. It's called Dr. Chan. And people can come here and chat. And when they chat, I think it's still active. So this is also what we call an MVP, which we will explain later. So when you chat, yeah, you can do when you chat, the doctor says, okay, what's where does it, what area, what does it mean? Oh, have a headache, or have this, and then it goes to the database. What are the typical questions that the doctor asks when this happens? Bam, 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 bam. So the first thing is to detect if it's an emergency or not. And then once it's not, if it's, and you say, oh, you should go to the doctor immediately. Make sense? Or you cannot keep asking questions until it's just a normal headache. And this thing can give probabilities. Like, look, 98% that is a normal headache, 2% probability that is emergency. You decide what you want to do. Does it make sense? So you can combine this with AI and this interface, and it can become very powerful. Not only powerful, you can save a lot of money. Yeah? Sounds good? Cool, awesome. So that was one example of a chatbot. And so if you do a chatbot, so, I mean, voila, you have a company, right? So that could be interesting. Yeah, makes sense? So if you do this is one of the possible projects you can do for this course. Yeah, so you can, the good thing is that you can make a prototype and show it on Facebook to millions of people. Another student made a traveling agency to book holidays, because people don't know where to go. So the chatbot would say, do you like beach or mountain? Would you like to do cultural activities or this and that? And then it helps a company to sell more trips that they would not sell. Right? So that was very nice. And then they make money with the ticket booking by... Is this a break time now? Okay, so we'll have a break now, and after we come back, you will show me your tokens, yeah? Yes? Okay.
But the website's free.
Right? Okay.
I don't know if anyone managed to do it. It's free. And the other method,
You were using Robstein, right?
no,
Robstein?
I was using the coin.
Okay.